My name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Okay, today we have I'm calling it the Blue Sands GMT from San Martin. It's SN0129. Now, they came out with this in white at first, and then introduced a bunch of other colorways. The blue was sold out for a while, but did pop up on sale, and I really wanted to check one out, so I grabbed it to review. Now, before we get to that review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. So these are currently available from San Martin in a wide range of colors and dial materials. The price fluctuates based on what sales are available, but you can usually get one for around $250. The case is 39mm in diameter, 13mm thick. It's only 46mm lug to lug, and then it has a 28mm lug with opening. Now, size for my 6 3/4 inch wrist, it weighs in at 137 grams. The finishing on this watch is very nice, with a combination of very fine brushing and high polished surfaces. We have a high polished bevel on the entire length of both the top and the bottom of the mid case, including on the inside of the lugs as well. The bezel also has a nice high polished chamfer with brushing on the top surface. Crown guards extend out on a gentle curve to enclose the crown. The lugs do not turn down very much, but the short lug to lug helps the watch stay planted on the wrist. The case back is a bit thick, but that does help counterbalance the bezel quite well. The watch is on the heavier side, but it is comfortable on the bracelet, which offsets the weight of the head of the watch. The stock bracelet starts at 20mm before tapering down to 16 and then jumping back up to 18 at the clasp. The solid end links have almost zero play with the head of the watch. The articulation against the back of the watch is excellent, and between the links is decent. These are two important factors that greatly contribute to how comfortable a bracelet wears. Now, the 3-link style features high polished center links flanked by brushed ones. This does add quite a bit of flashiness to this watch, so keep that in mind if you're looking to pick this up on bracelet. The dramatic 4mm taper is always nice and is something I greatly prefer as opposed to when the bracelet only tapers 2mm or does not taper at all. The clasp is nicely finished with the San Martin logo. It is on the longer side, however this is because it uses San Martin's quick adjust system. The twin trigger release reveals a fully milled scissor as well as the push activation for the quick adjust. It's really incredible that San Martin is offering this type of quick adjust clasp at this price point. Not much to say about the case back here, it's quite sterile. It is a screw-in style and helps provide 100 meters of water resistance. The watch is powered by the Seiko NH34. This is a hacking, hand-winding, 21,000 vibration per hour movement with a 42-hour power reserve and a stated accuracy of -20 to +40 seconds a day. It also features that 4th GMT hand and a quick set date. The 6.5mm screw-down crown is nicely knurled and signed with the San Martin logo. Despite the crown guards, it is easy to thread and unthread the crown, and that threading action is smooth. I think this crown is the perfect size both for functionality and visual appearance on the watch itself. The domed sapphire crystal is about 1mm proud of the bezel, with the dome rising slightly above that. I might have gone with a flat crystal here. This is already sort of a squat and tall watch, but the dome does look pretty cool, and they did apply a decent anti-reflective coating, which is going to let you appreciate the dial, which is the real star of the show. The fixed bezel has Arabic numerals for the even GMT hours, with dashes for the odd positions etched into the bezel in colored black. The bezel is easy to read, and the brushed top and high polished beveled edges play with the light nicely. This may be one of the best dials you will ever find on a watch at this price point. First off, they did a fantastic job with the chapter ring, which almost perfectly color matches the dial itself to the point where you almost don't notice it other than the markings there for the minutes. Now, moving in on the dial proper, we have a texture that looks to me like sand dunes. If you look closely, there is a sand-like texture on the dial, and the dunes, if you will, actually rise physically off the dial, so they will catch light and create shadows. Now, the color itself is a beautiful baby blue. The applied indices are also high quality. They're high polish and feature a number of angles, and they'll catch light very nicely, and then they're also filled with lume. The date is displayed at 3 and is also nicely framed. And then finally we have the San Martin logo at 12, and then GMT automatic and the depth rating at 6. The text at 6 is actually raised off the dial and very crisp under magnification, but the way it was applied can make it look a bit fuzzy on wrist, and I think that's just a byproduct of the way it was executed. That's probably my only complaint on this absolutely stunning dial. The handset on this watch is quite plain. We have a flat baton style hour and minute hands in high polish filled with lume, with a long, simple high polish seconds hand with a counterbalance and a red tip. And then finally the GMT hand is gray with a loomed arrow at the tip. Now the length of all the hands is great, but I would have preferred some detail to differentiate the hour and minute hands. While obviously the dial is the star of the show, I just find the hour and minute hand a bit lackluster on this watch. And they did a great job with the lume here. It's quite bright and does last. And I'm also glad to see they went with this blue color, as I feel like green would have really clashed with the dial. So here is the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. This is a great size for me personally. From the side you can see it's on the thicker side with that bezel and the domed sapphire, but on the bracelet I still think it wears quite nicely overall. As for pros and cons, starting with the pros. Now, as always, you're going to get an incredible set of specs for the price with San Martin. And this watch, while inspired by a few others, I don't think is a direct homage to any single watch, which is nice. Second, this dial is just fantastic. It's gorgeous without being distracting, which is sometimes a downside of having an interesting dial. You can just look at this watch and read the time quite easily. Third, it's nice to get the Seiko NH34 in here. A lot of micro brands are using this movement, and they are charging more than what we're seeing San Martin charge here, so it is good to get that Seiko movement in here. As for cons, as I said, the hour and minute hands are just a bit lackluster and boring to me. Second, the text at 6 can look a little fuzzy just because of the way it was printed on the dial. And then third, this is kind of personal preference, but the high polished center links may be more flashy than what you're looking for. It does really drive up the bling factor of this watch on wrist if you're going to choose to wear it on that bracelet. As for comparables, whenever I talk about GMT watches, I always like to recommend the Q Timex GMT. This is a really fun and affordable option and comes in a number of colorways. For a bit more, you could just get the Seiko watch that this movement is from. That would be one of the Seiko 5 Sports GMT models. However, you won't get sapphire crystal. For a bit more than that Seiko, you could always check out the Notice GMT, which would put sapphire crystal back into the mix. I have a review of all 3 of these options on my channel. So there you have it, the San Martin SN0129, or as I'm referring to it, the Blue Sands GMT. What do you think about this watch? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.